mine. Mr. Johnston, and as their attorney apparently talked through with you, you don't have to make a statement, but if you wish to do so, now is your opportunity to let me know anything else that you'd like me to consider before I impose sentence today.
To speak now?
Now is that opportunity, yes. Just try to, if we could, make sure you try to use that microphone so I can hear you. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. First, I just want to say thank you, Your Honorable Judge Levy, for allowing me to address the court on my behalf. And as you may see, my family is not here in person to give a verbal statement on my behalf, but I just want to say first, I want to give my deepest and sincere condolences to the entire Zek family or anybody else that has been harmed, and that includes friends, family, distant friends, everyone who has been harmed in any type of way, shape, or form by this tragedy that occurred on May 7, 2023. I am so very sorry. I never intended to harm Tatiana Zek, and I'm so sorry that she has lost her life. I know that I have never met her, but from what I have read from the victim's mother and sister and friends, that she was a wonderful person, that she, as was earlier stated, that she was a wonderful hairstylist and she was a very heartfelt person. I just want to give my deepest condolences to the entire Zek family. I am so very sorry that my actions led to Tatiana losing her life. I also would like to state that I am very sorry to the Fond du Lac community for acting so recklessly and not thinking. Me being 17 years old, I have been through trials and tribulations in my life, and I have been put in situations where I had to think, and that situation that occurred on May 7th was one of those situations that I should have thought and proceeded with my day, but my actions showed otherwise, and that is why I'm here in front of you today, Your Honorable Judge Levy. I really want you to take into consideration that I have entered those guilty pleas. I have took the stand against my co-defendant. I admitted my guilt, and I am so very sorry to the community and to the entire Zek family and anybody else who has been affected by this tragedy. They're not the only ones that have been affected. My life has been affected. Perry's Larry life has been affected. Also his family and mine.
You can take a moment. You have the floor until you tell me you're done.
I'm sorry. I'm not here in front of you with a piece of paper that everything could be fabricated about. I am speaking genuinely from the heart, and I understand that you have a job to do today. I just hope that you could be lenient enough and allow me to be released at or after the 20-year mark. I know you don't have any obligations to do so, but I really assure you that the time being spent in the Fond du Lac County Jail and my future would be in any prison or maximum facility, that I will be well rehabilitated and that I will grow as a man, and I am learning and I have learned from my mistakes. I want to end by saying this. I want to thank you again, Your Honorable Judge Levy, for allowing me to address the court on my behalf and giving my deepest condolences to the entire Zek family and everybody else who has been affected. And I am so very sorry. And I just beg you, please just give me another chance to show that I am worth it and that I am not a disgrace to society and I am not a menace to society, that after the time that I will have been served or being served, I will be well rehabilitated enough to come back into society and be a normal and respected citizen. I do have ties to Fond du Lac. I have a mother. I have a child. I have siblings. I have nieces and nephews that is here. And I'm just not ready to just be taken away from them just forever. I understand that I have to be rehabilitated for my actions, and I am admitting guilt. I have admitted guilt, and I'm sorry for that, but please just know that I am sorry from the bottom to the top of my heart of my actions that I have did on May 7th of 2023. And I just hope that the entire Zek family and everybody else that has been harmed in any type of way, shape, or form could someday forgive me, even though I know Tatiana Zek would never be able to be held by them when she cries, or be comforted by someone when they're down, or speak to again. I'm sorry for that. And I know sorry's not going to bring Tatiana back. I know sorry's not going to pay the price that needs to be paid. I know me asking for forgiveness isn't going to come with overnight. And I know justice needs to be brought forth so that Tatiana's life being taken away from her has been brought to justice. Thank you, Your Honor, for allowing me to address the court on my behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnston. I'm not aware of that prior history as it relates to Mr. Johnston. However, there are separate aggravating circumstances that the court takes into consideration as it relates to Mr. Johnston's involvement in these circumstances. One, he pulled that firearm first. He had it down at his side. He's the one who fired first. He fired 10 rounds to Mr. Larry's 3, to Mr. Johnson's 1. Certainly, those are more aggravating circumstances than what Mr. Larry did, what Mr. Johnson did even. He then fled on foot, took off with Mr. Larry and another individual, dropped the gun in the garbage can by Tyson Middle School, and fled the state. Attorney Sings pointed out some various ways that one could view that fleeing, whether it's going home to seek support and solace, whether it's trying to evade capture. I think the fact that he took off certainly showed some level of recognition that what he did was wrong. What he did was against the law. As Attorney Singh pointed out, I don't believe there was any evidence at the trial or otherwise that the actions of Mr. Johnston were premeditated in any way. So I take that as a mitigating factor in looking at the gravity of the offense. Gravity of the offense necessarily under these types of circumstances dovetails into public safety issues that the court needs to consider. Attorney Tony referenced these circumstances today. He referenced them this morning. The court referenced them this morning. It's something that I noted from the very get-go the first time that I saw the video of this shooting. I didn't hear the preliminary hearing, so I had not seen that video until the trial. You have Mr. Johnston standing outside the doorway. He raises his arm to shoot at the group of individuals. You have Mr. Larry shooting from the doorway. There's other people that are in the parking lot. There's people in the apartments across the way. And then you have this little 5-6-year-old boy that scoots by on his scooter right underneath the fire, the gunfire. Whether by virtue of sheer dumb luck or the grace of God, that little boy wasn't harmed. But I point that out because it is a clear, tangible circumstance that shows how dangerous these circumstances were. And that factors into the court's consideration of not only the public safety as it relates to this crime, but I also need to look at public safety in the future. And that dovetails into looking at the character of Mr. Johnston as to whether, based on the sentence structure put in place, based on the opportunities that may or may not be made available to him, that will he take advantage of them? Is he going to put others at risk in the future? Clearly, the behavior that happened here, the circumstances here, put many people at risk. Far more people than charges were brought in this case, because there was no charge associated with that little boy. And the people that suffered direct injuries or were part of that group taking out the garbage were not made identified victims in this case, but certainly were put at risk by the behavior and the actions of Mr. Johnston. In looking at the character of Mr. Johnston, I'll start by acknowledging that he too is incredibly young. 17 at the time, 19 now. He has not, I believe, have any prior criminal history, no prior juvenile history. Certainly that speaks to his favor. What doesn't are the conduct reports that Attorney Tony had referenced that are referenced in the PSI. Some of those do give the court concern as they reference a continued assaultive type behavior. This isn't just failing to follow the rules of the jail and you're getting written up. One references that he was throwing fist strikes with a closed fist to the other inmate's face and head area, continued fighting the other person at least 12 times. That was from circumstances in September of last year. Then from February of this year, getting into a fight again, striking another inmate at least 11 times with a closed fist. It states he then dragged them under the staircase and again attacked them, hitting in the head with a closed fist at least 5 times. Another reference from May 12th of this year. What started, it seems, as exchanging words, it says, with another inmate. It says he then struck the other inmate in the head with a closed fist. Now, I recognize the circumstances that Attorney Singh pointed out, and that is fair argument for the court to consider. But certainly what's before the court is very violent, assaultive type crimes, and I'm looking at how one conducts themselves so that I can have an understanding, as best I can glean, as to how they will take advantage of opportunities made available to them, how they will utilize their time in confinement, and whether or not that type of behavior is going to continue into the future. And so certainly looking at those circumstances does give the court some concern. Now, a lot has been talked about from both parties here as it relates to Mr. Johnston's character and his taking responsibility in this case. I give him credit for that. Absolutely. As Attorney Singh phrased it, I'm not certain I would phrase it the same. He indicated that Mr. Johnston stood up for Ms. Zeck. Again, I'm not certain I agree with that phraseology. He certainly, after the fact, looked at his behavior and took ownership of that behavior. He entered guilty pleas acknowledging that behavior, which meant a trial did not need to happen. So as far as manning up and owning one's behavior, I do give you credit for that, Mr. Johnston. It's not often that this court sees that. And it was done in a manner that shows genuineness. I have no reason to doubt. I certainly believe Attorney Singh and take him at his word that those statements were made to Attorney Singh very early on in this case. For Attorney Singh to do his job, he certainly needed to review that discovery. The procedures as it relates to the court process needed to continue. So it's my understanding and my belief that you wished to take ownership for your behavior and these crimes from a very early time in this case, and I give you credit for that. It did spare some additional pain that victims' families would need to go through if this matter also went to a trial. And I do think, and agree with Attorney Singh, that the combination of that with some of the statements that Attorney Singh had referenced in his arguments show that you do have some certain level of insight into the seriousness of what happened here, the impact of that, not only on yourself, but on the lives of the other people that's impacted. Certainly, I think there is more for you to learn as you continue to grow and, frankly, get more experience in life. But it does show a certain level of accountability, and I do give you credit for that. What credit can't do, what taking responsibility can't provide, is taking it all away. We can't turn back time, right? We can't bring Ms. Zeck back. We can't take the bullet out of Javier's back. We can't take away the injuries that Keyshawn has suffered. Those are things that the victims and their families will need to continue to deal with day in and day out for the rest of their lives. And you will need to deal with your understanding and your role in these circumstances day in and day out for the rest of your life. I don't envy either of those positions, but I too have a very important role in these circumstances, and the decision that this court makes is one that I do not take lightly. It is one that I will live with day in and day out for the rest of my life. I take my role seriously. And the sentence that the court imposes is one that I do not make lightly. I make considering all of these facts and circumstances, weighing those as I must through the light of those galleon factors to provide as best I can a just sentence that factors all of those things into account. As it relates to count 1, the court is going to order life imprisonment without the possibility of extended supervision. I recognize that that is not what the state is requesting. I recognize it is not what the defense is requesting. The court is required to sentence in a manner that provides a minimal amount of incarceration to the extent that is necessary. I do find that life imprisonment without the any opportunity at extended supervision is necessary here. It's necessary to address the seriousness of these offenses.